The honourable member for Saskatoon West.
Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to follow up with a question to my honourable colleague, following up on my colleague's comments about the promises of the Liberals during the election on the substantive changes that they were going to make, the promises that they made to Canadians. And in particular, in my province of Saskatchewan, where many people were swayed by this Liberal government, that one of the promises they made was to get rid of mandatory minimum sentences. And we won't all agree on that issue, I know for a fact, on this side. But in my province of Saskatchewan, where the rates of incarceration for Indigenous people is horrendous, it's a human rights issue by all stretches of the imagination, and we've been waiting a very long time for this government to do something substantive on justice issues that will make a difference to people's everyday lives, to bring justice, to honor their human rights. And so I just share with my honourable colleague how very disappointed I am to be at this point in their mandate and not see, and particularly the issue of getting rid of mandatory minimum sentences. And I'll just add at the end, before I pass it over to my honourable colleague, Mr. Speaker, the fact that if the most important relationship to this government is the relationship with First Nation peoples, it was a call, a TRC call to action to get rid of mandatory minimum sentences. And I would be the first to stand up and pass that bill on unanimous consent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary in 45 seconds or less, please.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the comments from the member across the way. I think that if we were to take a look at the amount of legislation that the government has brought through over the last few years, I recognize that there's a lot of good things from within it that we could choose from. I'm hopeful that we'll get as much of it, if not all of it, passed, because it's something in which I believe that Canadians would be very, very supportive as a whole. And I will concede, we might need that second mandate in order to achieve all the wonderful things that we want to be able to achieve, Mr. Speaker. But that's not up for me. That'll be up for Canadians to ultimately decide in 2019.